पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
Now, lead focus remains on COVID. While the government has said there's no need to panic, Divya, but of course, there are steps that need to be taken because, of course, precaution is better than cure. So before that China surge spreads to other countries, the Indian government has already taken precautions and advising the same. Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia will hold a meeting with the states on the issue of COVID-19 at 3 p.m. Now, this meeting will be held with the health ministers of multiple states.
That's right. Priyanshi, meeting will be held through video conferencing regarding the situation as far as coronavirus is concerned, the preparations and its challenges. Though the government has said there's no need to panic, everything is under control. However, like Priyanshi was mentioning, a lot of protocols will now be back in place, including the mask. The government is suggesting it hasn't been mandated so far pan-India, but some states are also now referring to certain states saying that they should now start wearing the mask, especially in indoor spaces and crowded spaces. We have Vedant joining us on the phone line. Vedant, given that the holiday season is on, many people will be travelling within the country, also many visitors expected to come inside the country, many expected to even be going out of India as far as the Christmas holiday season is concerned. Take us through some of the protocols that might be back in place.
That's right, Divya. In fact, yesterday, Prime Minister said that masking up and social distancing are the only solutions to the problem, and that should be central as far as India's COVID response is concerned. In fact, the Health Ministry has also written to the international airports saying that 2% random sampling will be conducted from tomorrow itself. That is something that the Prime Minister also said in the review meeting that he chaired yesterday. In fact, he emphasized on strengthening surveillance at international airports and also told states to audit COVID-specific facilities, oxygen plants, ventilators to make sure that the COVID infrastructure is there in place, and in fact dedicated COVID care centers are also back. He also advised the states to share larger number of samples for genome sequencing, as genome sequencing and surveillance are really at the heart of India's COVID response at this point in time. And he also assured the country that there's adequate availability of hospital beds, medicines and vaccines. So that is something that should not be a cause for concern. Now, today, as you rightly mentioned, Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia will be chairing this review meet with health ministers of states and union territories. This will be at around 3 p.m. Via video conferencing, as you were saying. And what is likely on the agenda? So we are being told by sources in the health ministry that two important things. One is, of course, the COVID preparedness. So an advisory to states is likely after this meet. That is what we are being told. As far as the mask mandate is concerned, remember yesterday all the chief ministers of states had said that they will be following whatever the government's mandate will be. As of now, there is no mask mandate in place, and there's no blanket fine as far as not wearing masks is concerned. So that might be back, but the focus will really be on COVID infrastructure, ensuring that there are COVID care centers, human resources, and vaccines, hospital beds. All of them are in place. That is what the Prime Minister also said.
Right. Thanks very much, Vedant, for joining us with those details. And as Vedant was mentioning, that masks have not been made mandatory yet. But of course, as that holiday season is coming up, people are going on trips, on parties. So it's definitely advised that you follow COVID protocol during that, so your trips are not hampered because of that. And in some states, such as Karnataka, that have made masking mandatory, at least in indoor spaces. But it's not a pan-India advisory as of now. Now, where did this concern really came up for India? The cause for panic does not exist yet, but there's been a concern after 4 cases of the virus variant that's driving the surge in China. That very variant has been detected in India as well. With that, there's a focus on genome sequences to identify these new variants in India before they spread across the masses.
That's right, Priyanshi, and the Prime Minister, after a review meeting yesterday on the COVID situation, has advised to use masks and increased testing as far as COVID is concerned. There's been concern after those 4 cases of the virus variant playing havoc in China that was detected in India as well. The centre has told the states to focus on awareness. So, just spreading awareness and, of course, leaving it to people for now in order to keep themselves safe.
Right. As cases in India currently are just around 120, 150. That's the daily average, which is the lowest since the start of the pandemic. But states are stepping up their efforts to combat COVID. In Delhi, the Chief Minister says that no new variant cases have been detected in the national capital. In Bengal, they are stepping up genome sequences, and Karnataka, as we said, has made masks mandatory indoors.
And about the concern as far as Maharashtra is concerned, my colleague Sohit spoke to Maharashtra's health minister, and this is what he had to say.
सर, अभी एक रिव्यू बैठक भी हुई, उसमें भी कई सारे चर्चा इस पर की गई। क्या कुछ फैसला लिया गया है? जिस तरह से मामले दूसरे देश में बढ़ रहे हैं, क्या चिंता का विषय है या अभी क्या कुछ फैसला?
चिंता का विषय कुछ ही नहीं है। जस्ट वी आर अवेयर टू महाराष्ट्र पब्लिक, अवेयरनेस है कि डरने की तो बात ही नहीं है। जो बाहर आपके माध्यम से हमें जो इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रही है, उसके अगस्त में हम जो हमारे सीएम और डीसीएम साहब ने ये बोल दिया है कि प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स ले लो। जो हमारी यंत्रणा है, रोड मैप तैयार है, पहली जो यंत्रणा है वही है, वो सजग करो, उतना ही। बाकी मास्क की कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है, डिस्टेंस की कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है, ये कोई त्योहार मनाने का कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है। ये मत मिलो, में ऐसा उधर मत जाओ, इधर ऐसा मत करो, डोंट गेट टुगेदर, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। जस्ट प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स। और टू बी फ्रैंक, वो BF7 जो वेरिएंट है, वो इंडिया में सिर्फ 2 जगह आइडेंटिफिकेशन हुआ है, आपके माध्यम से ही पता चल रहा है। महाराष्ट्र में तो कुछ भी नहीं है। फिर भी ये प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स है, क्योंकि पिछले 2 साल हमने देखा है पूरा इंडिया, पूरा वर्ल्ड ने, कि अगर कोई अवेयरनेस नहीं लिया या कैजुअल अप्रोच रखा तो क्या होता है। तो ये प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स के लिए हम ये कर रहे हैं, बाकी कुछ नहीं।
इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल्स जो आएंगे, जो ट्रैवलर्स आएंगे उनके लिए
तो इसलिए तो इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल जो आएंगे वो 4 कंट्रीज है, चाइना हो, डेनमार्क, ब्राजील, जर्मनी, जो भी कुछ है, वहाँ रैंडम 2% थर्मल टेस्टिंग करने के लिए बोल दिए है। वो सैटरडे से या संडे से शुरू हो जाए।
आखिरी सवाल ये है, आज लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में कहा गया है कि जो वहाँ पे सांसद जाएंगे वो मास्क पहनेंगे। ऐसी यहाँ पे कोई कंपल्शन फिलहाल नहीं है। नो कंपल्शन एट ऑल। नो कंपल्शन। बहुत
And also our colleague Pooja Bharat was at the airport in Mumbai getting a stock of the situation as to any changes that are being followed or made in order to tackle the situation as far as COVID is concerned.
Now, she spoke to people about the precautions and finds out that most people are not wearing masks just yet. Listen in.
ना कोई वो प्रिकॉशंस हो रहा है, ना कोई टेस्टिंग हो रही है, ना कोई चेकिंग हो रही है, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है।
तो थर्मल स्क्रीनिंग वगैरह तो ये शुरुआत से हो रही थी, वो हो रही है, लेकिन टेस्टिंग नहीं हो रही है।
नहीं, टेस्टिंग भी नहीं हो रही है, थर्मल क्लीनिंग भी नहीं हो रही है। अभी यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है, किसी का फीवर वगैरह भी चेक नहीं किया जा रहा है।
हमारा शेड्यूल था 27, 28 को वापस आने का, लेकिन ये सर्च की वजह से हम लोग आस्ते आस्ते पहले ही आ गए। क्रिसमस लीव के लिए गए थे, क्रिसमस के पहले ही आ गए हम लोग।
तो आप लोग बिजनेस के सिलसिले में ट्रैवल कर रहे थे, लेकिन समय से पहले आना पड़ा। कल को अगर वहाँ वापस से लॉकडाउन वगैरह कुछ हो जाएगा या फ्लाइट्स कैंसिल हो जाएंगी, ट्रैवल बंद हो जाएगा, तो फिर तकलीफ हो जाएगी।
Don't think people are still alert. They are still a little bit, taking it in their stride, but the urgency is not seen anywhere.
To be true, no one was mentioning, कोई भी कुछ भी mention कर नहीं रहा था इसके regarding, COVID के regarding, and even in the plane, सिर्फ निकलते टाइम वो लोग बोल रहे थे कि डिस्टेंस मेंटेन करो, बट सब लोग जब साथ में ही बैठे हैं, नो वन इज वेयरिंग मास्क, देन आई डोंट थिंक इट्स ऑफ मच यूज।
आपने क्या देखा, अंदर कुछ कोविड प्रोटोकॉल को लेकर नियम फॉलो हो रहा है?
फ्रॉम एक एयरलाइन पर्सपेक्टिव तो कुछ दिखा नहीं, बट आई थिंक पीपल आर मोर कॉशियस। लाइक मैंने खुद भी पहनना शुरू कर दिया है, राइट। लोग आई कुड सी के अराउंड 10-15% ऑफ द पीपल आर वेयरिंग मास्क नाउ। जब भी एंड 5-6 days बैक व्हेन आई वेंट, देयर वर ऑलमोस्ट हार्डली एनीवन वाज वेयरिंग।
लगभग पिछले 3 महीने में 7 से 8 बार इंडिया आया, एंड आई हैव सीन वन इम्पॉर्टेंट चेंज कि इस बार बहुत ज़्यादा बताया जा रहा है कि फिर से मास्क पहनने की ज़रूरत है। राइट फ्रॉम स्टार्टिंग माई जर्नी इन दुबई, वहाँ से ही जो भी एयर इंडिया का स्टाफ था, उन्होंने भी सब किसी को फिर से जाके कहा कि प्लीज़ मास्क पहन के रखिए।
And India on Thursday reported 185 new coronavirus infections, taking the total number of COVID cases to over 4.46 crore as far as the pandemic is concerned. This number came on the heels of several states calling for review meetings to check as far as the COVID preparedness is concerned. Health Minister Mandavia also addressed the Parliament on that very issue.
The Prime Minister, Speaker and MPs all masked up as COVID cases surge in China, the US and several other parts of the world. The Prime Minister also chaired an emergency review meeting. Addressing both houses, the Union Health Minister said that states are being advised to ensure safety steps against COVID.
आने वाले त्योहार और नए साल को ध्यान में रखते हुए राज्यों को सतर्क रहकर लोगों का मास्क पहनना, हैंड सैनिटाइज करना, रेस्पिरेटरी हाइजीन का ख्याल रखना और सामाजिक दूरी बनाए रखने की जागरूकता लानी चाहिए। राज्यों को कोविड वैक्सीन की प्रिकॉशन डोज बढ़ाने पर और लोगों को प्रिकॉशन डोज की अहमियत के प्रति जागरूकता लाने के लिए भी कदम उठाने चाहिए। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डों पर विदेश से आने वाले हवाई यात्रियों के 2% कोविड RT-PCR रैंडम सैंपलिंग भी की जा रही है।
Responding to the Health Minister's statement, the Aam Aadmi Party demanded a ban on indirect flights coming from China amid the COVID scare.
अंग्रेजी में कहावत है, प्रिकॉशन इज बेटर देन क्योर। अगर हम चाइना से आने वाली फ्लाइट्स को बैन कर दें, उस पर रोक लगा दें, तो कम से कम जो सबसे ज्यादा इफेक्टेड कंट्री है वहां से आवाजाही बंद हो जाएगी, तो बहुत चीजें प्रिवेंट हो सकती हैं।
However, a day after the Health Minister's letter asking him to suspend the Bharat Jodo Yatra in national interest, Rahul Gandhi accused the government of coming up with excuses to stop his yatra.
अब देखिए, अब यात्रा को रोकने के लिए बहाने बन रहे हैं। मास्क पहनो, यात्रा बंद करो, कोविड फैल रहा है, सब बहाने हैं। हिंदुस्तान की शक्ति से, हिंदुस्तान की सच्चाई से ये लोग डर गए हैं।
And with the centre sounding the COVID alert, states rushed into meetings as well, with chief ministers of Delhi, Punjab, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu chairing high-level meetings to take measures to tackle a possible new surge of the coronavirus.
एक तो जितने केसेस आ रहे हैं, भारत सरकार के डायरेक्शन के मुताबिक हम सारे केसेस की, जितने पॉजिटिव केस आते हैं, सबकी जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग कराते हैं कि वो उसमें कौन सा वेरिएंट है। दूसरा, हमारी आज दिल्ली में लगभग 2500 केसेस की टोटल टेस्टिंग होती है दिल्ली। हमारी कैपेसिटी 1 लाख तक पहुंच गई है। अगर ज़रूरत पड़ेगी तो हम 1 लाख टेस्ट्स डेली भी कर सकते हैं।
Welcome back. Now, Union Minister Piyush Goyal has withdrawn his remarks to RJD leader Manoj Jha that his party would one day turn the entire country into Bihar if they had their way, saying he had no intention of insulting the state.
There was a huge debate in the parliament yesterday over the Bihari pride. The RJD MP had said that Piyush Goyal's remarks smacked of elitism when he said that don't turn the entire country into Bihar. Here's a look at what happened in the parliament.
Take your seats. Go to your seat. Please go to your seat. Piyush Goyal, माफी मांगो.
Bihari pride injured and protest over Piyush Goyal's statement in Rajya Sabha.
माफी मांगो. मेरा एक अक्सर
This clarification on the floor of the House today did nothing to placate anyone.
Let me clarify. There is absolutely no intention of insulting either Bihar or the people of Bihar, and if at all that has hurt anybody, I will immediately withdraw that statement.
पीयूष गोयल को कम से कम जो है इस मसले में माफी मांगनी चाहिए। वो किस प्रकार से ये लोग जो है बिहार को बदनाम करते हैं और मनसा इनके मन में बिहार के प्रति कितना घृणा है मन में, ये सब कुछ जो है सामने आ चुका है।
पीयूष गोयल जी एक जिम्मेवार व्यक्ति हैं और एक जिम्मेवार व्यक्ति के मुंह से ये निकलना, इन शब्दों का, अपमानजनक शब्दों का निकलना, उनकी जो मानसिकता है उसको दर्शाता है। उनको जितनी राजनीति करनी है वो राजनीति करें, हम लोग के साथ राजनीति करें, हम लोग को गाली दें, बिहार को कम से कम गाली दें।
ये स्टेटमेंट विड्रॉ करने वाली चीज नहीं है, ये सीधे पब्लिक अपॉलॉजी वाली चीज है और इसमें दोनों में मीलों का फासला है। अभी भी मेरी विनती होगी, अगर पीयूष गोयल जी माफी नहीं मांगते हैं सदन में और एक एक बिहार के लोगों से, तो जाहिर तौर पर मैं मानूंगा कि प्रधानमंत्री जी की और उनकी पार्टी की कहीं यही तो मंशा नहीं।
Earlier in the day, RJD's Manoj Jha wrote to the Vice President, who is the chairman of Rajya Sabha, to expunge the said remarks from the records and take necessary steps to ensure no such remarks are passed against any other state in the House. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And with that, we're stepping into a very short break. There are lots more coming up on the other side.
After 303 days of the Russia-Ukraine war, for the first time, Russian President Vladimir Putin has hinted at ending the war in Ukraine. He says that sooner or later, the parties in a conflict have to sit down together and negotiate. But he blames Ukraine for not making that happen.
Well, he went on to say that Russia never refused negotiations and a diplomatic track, and it's the Ukrainian leadership that's forbidding itself to negotiate. The comments came after Ukrainian President Zelensky made an emotional speech at the White House in the United States, saying that Ukraine will never surrender. Listen.
Вооруженные конфликты заканчиваются так или иначе какими-то переговорами на дипломатическом треке. А мы и не отказывались никогда. Это руководство Украины само себе запретило вести переговоры. Ну, это уже выглядит несколько необычно, странно даже, я бы сказал. Тем не менее, рано или поздно, конечно, любые стороны, находящиеся в состоянии конфликта, садятся и договариваются. Чем быстрее это осознание придет к тем, кто нам противостоит, тем лучше. Мы-то от этого никогда не отказывались.
And Ukrainian President Zelensky made a fervent appeal to the United States Congress to support Ukraine. He said that their money to his country is not charity, but investment in democracy.
Now, this is the first known time when President Zelensky has actually left Ukraine since the war by Russia started in the month of February. And during his visit, President Biden in the United States said that the U.S. will stand by Ukraine and it's getting ready to send its Patriot missile defense system to Ukraine as a part of the $1.8 billion assistance package. Take a look at Zelensky's visit in the United States.
Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
The Ukrainian president in the US Parliament as Putin's war against his country completes 300 days.
His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky, President of the Ukraine.
In an impassioned address to the US Congress, President Zelensky sought stronger sanctions against Russia and also more financial support from the US as the war continues. Bringing a Ukrainian flag along with him as a reminder to the US that their decisions can save millions of lives. President Joe Biden had earlier said that US will send Ukraine a Patriot missile defense system as part of an additional $1.8 billion assistance package. The two leaders met at the White House with the Ukrainian president donning a green military outfit. This was the president's first visit out of Ukraine since the start of the war, and President Zelensky said that he was honored to be at the White House.
President Zelensky, I want you to know that all the people of Ukraine to know as well. The American people have been with you every step of the way, and we will stay with you. We will stay with you for as long as it takes.
The two leaders also indicated after their meeting that the war is entering a new phase.
Merry Christmas and happy, victorious New Year. Slava Ukraini!
Bureau Report, NDTV.
Now, as the India-China clash issue takes the centre stage in the parliament, as the opposition has been building pressure on the government to discuss the India-China LAC issue, the 17th round of the Corps Commander talks took place on the 20th of December.
These talks were restricted, though, to seeking a resolution of the LAC friction in the western sector, that's eastern Ladakh.
Building on the progress made after the last meeting on 17th July, the two sides exchanged views on the resolution of the relevant issues along the LAC in the western sector in an open and constructive manner. There a frank and in-depth discussion, keeping in line with the guidance provided by the state leaders to work for the resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest, which would help in restoration of peace and tranquility along the LAC in the western sector and enable progress in bilateral relations. The two sides agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue through military and diplomatic channels and work out a mutually acceptable resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest.
Switching tracks, no work, no salary. That's the message from the J&K Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha to the Kashmiri Pandit employees who are not coming to work in the valley out of fear for their life.
Now remember, these Kashmiri Pandits stopped going to work because of the recent killings that happened in the valley that were targeted towards Kashmiri Pandits by terrorists. Now the Lieutenant Governor has said that salaries till 31st of October have been dispersed, but they can't be paid for the future and for the months ahead of that if people don't show up for duty.
Target killing! Band karo! Target killing! Band karo! We want justice! We want justice! Down, down, down! Administration down!
Protest by Kashmiri Pandits outside the BJP office in Jammu demanding a relocation away from the valley. Around 6,000 Kashmiri Pandits have been given government jobs as part of return to Kashmir Valley under Prime Minister's special employment package since 2010. In May this year, terrorists started target killing of Kashmiri Pandits and employees from Jammu, besides targeting migrant workers. Since then, Pandit employees are on protest.
LG साहब ने अपने बयान में कहा कि हम घर बैठे तनख्वाह नहीं देंगे और ये कहा कि हमारी सारी डिमांड फुलफिल हो गई है। ये बात ठीक नहीं है, वो झूठ बोला गया है।
And the issue snowballed after Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha announced that the government will not pay salary to Pandit employees if they don't rejoin work. But the Lieutenant Governor says his message is clear.
31 अगस्त तक की तनख्वाह सबको दे दी गई, लेकिन अब ये नहीं हो सकता है कि घर बैठ करके तनख्वाह दी जाए। ये बात एक क्लियर एंड लाउड मैसेज है, ये सबको सुनना चाहिए, समझना चाहिए।
But BJP leaders have come out in support of Pandits, assuring them of a transfer policy.
वादा करने कि ट्रांसफर पॉलिसी करवाइए रहोगे पामे जो मर्जी हो।
Last week, government told Parliament that 4 Kashmiri Pandits have been killed by terrorists this year. The opposition says government has failed to give a sense of security to Pandits.
हमने एलजी साहब का एक बयान देखा कश्मीरी पंडित एम्प्लॉइज जो धरने पे जम्मू में बैठे हुए हैं उनके हवाले से मैं समझता हूं कि बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयान था।
This Kashmiri Pandit camp at Sheikhpura, Badgam is literally deserted. Very few people are living inside. After Lieutenant Governor's announcement, Kashmiri Pandits say they are being forced to make a choice between life and livelihood. At Sheikhpura, Badgam, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
And as Christmas and New Year approaches, you guessed it right, Goa is hosting travellers and many of you also might have plans to go there. And this can be called the first holiday season, Divya, after the pandemic with consistently low COVID cases. Before that, China concern really hit us.
That's right. And despite the COVID concerns from China, hotels and guest houses are packed to capacity as music fills the air. This is the situation as far as Goa is concerned. A lot of people planning their Christmas and New Year in Goa.
Festive cheer all around as Goa gets ready for the festive week ahead. The delicious cakes will make it to several Goan homes which don't have time to bake or buy such cakes. Vrinda Barros, a young entrepreneur, is happy her order book is full. This year, Vrinda has seen a tenfold surge in her business compared to the last 2 years.
We have to work overtime literally, and everyone wants to celebrate and make the best because of the shutdown earlier. And everyone's flying down and flying over all over the world. Travel has opened up, so people are meeting each other. They're celebrating Christmas. Families are getting together. So there is a lot of demand for Christmas cakes, for Christmas sweets.
This young couple from the United Kingdom is very happy to be back after 2 years.
Goa is just paradise for me. Like, you won't find this beautiful nature and beaches anywhere else. And I think, you know, the people here are just wonderful hosts, so you feel home away from home. So Goa, it was a very easy choice.
We are almost sold out for Christmas, and New Year's we're seeing a last-minute pickup of bookings as well. So we as a team are looking forward to being sold out for New Year too.
Goa has 4,200 hotels and guest houses, which translates to roughly 60,000 beds, and most of these are expected to be booked. Also, temporary shops have come up selling Christmas goodies. Musicians like Carlton Braganza are the life of Goa. After performing from his bedroom for his online audience,
Feliz Navidad, Prospero Año y Felicidad.
Now Braganza is busy again. However, a recent High Court order banning loud music at open-air venues after 10 p.m. has been a bit of a dampener. This young couple planned an outdoor wedding but are disappointed.
We put years and years of planning into this, and to come to a point where the music is shut at 10 o'clock is utterly disappointing.
In the midst of all of this, it's the airlines that are cashing in with a record number of over 100 flights arriving from various destinations here in Goa. It's also the airfares that have skyrocketed at least about 4 times more than the normal fares.
Bureau Report, NDTV.
And with that, we're taking a very short break. But on the other side, over 400 players for 87 vacant spots will be auctioned for the IPL auction in Kochi.
That's right, and that will set the ball rolling for IPL 2023 with a mini auction on Friday. All the details about that coming up with Rika.
And welcome to Turning Point. The ball for IPL 2023 will set rolling with the mini auction on Friday. Why are the auctions important? A poor auction could lead to a poor season for an IPL team, just like Mumbai had the last time around. This year, the teams will be looking for strategic buys. Most have the core squad in place. Hyderabad has the most slots available, that's 13, and Delhi has the least, 5. Hyderabad has the highest auction purse while KKR has the least. 405 players are to be auctioned for 87 slots. So as many as 87 slots can be filled by the 10 franchises on Friday, and they can have a combined spend of a whopping 174.3 crore rupees. Now, who are the players who could spark bidding war? Sam Curran of England, Ben Stokes, Cameron Green, Nicholas Pooran and Harry Brook. Of course, Mayank Agarwal is also in the market. He could be one of the big buys so far as the Indians are concerned. At this hour, I am joined by the CEO of Delhi Capitals, Dheeraj Malhotra, cricket columnist and administrator Amrit Mathur as well. Dheeraj, coming to you, there's a lot of talk around, Sam Curran being the most sought after player in this auction. Could you tell us a little bit about the buzz around him?
Well, he had a great, phenomenal World Cup actually. He was a player of the finals, player of the tournament, and apart from that, there's just very few all-rounders. Everybody's looking for 1 or 2 slots to complete their team. And everybody's been smart about saving their purse and saving enough money. So you have Sam Curran, Ben Stokes, Cameron Green. They will fetch a lot of money this year. Another interesting part is, Rika, which I'm sure you'll cover, is the impact players. So I don't know whether the all-rounders will still have that demand, because you could easily get a top batsman or a top bowler, and they can do a role of an all-rounder as well. So it all depends on different strategies of different teams for different teams.
Dheeraj, since you mentioned about impact players, let me ask you whether these will be the Indian buys, key Indian buys, or are you also looking at a foreigner as an impact player?
I mean, it'll have to be the Indians, because you can only replace the Indian. But again, having said that, a lot of teams already have their strong Indians. And a lot of teams have 12 or 13 Indians who couldn't make it to the 11.
Right.
So now you will have either a specialist bowler or a specialist batsman getting a chance. And
So-
it all depends on strategy. When do you get the batsman? When do you get the bowler? Who do you make the change with? So it just makes it very interesting.
Amrit, would you say that this is the single biggest change, the impact player that is once again going to add a very interesting dimension to IPL this time around?
Well, in terms of strategy, the teams have learned that they need a finisher, an impact player who can determine the outcome of a game. So finishers are in short supply, they are in huge demand, so I think every team is looking for one. So that's one thing. Secondly, in this auction, most of the teams have released a lot of players. That's why the slots are open. And the teams have almost 200 crores available to fill the slots and make sure they've got the right combination going into the IPL. So it's a very interesting auction. A lot of released players, a lot of new players coming into the auction. And obviously, the impact players, the finishers, are going to be the ones who will draw the highest bids.
Amrit, if I were to explain to my viewers what an impact player is, can we say that it's a similar role to what Ravi Ashwin played for the Rajasthan Royals last time around?
Not really. You're looking for a Pollard, you're looking for Andre Russell, you're looking for Tim David, you're looking for Stoinis. You're looking for somebody who will come maybe between the 15th to the 20th over and up the run rate, take it to maybe 15 and over, make you win a game. So you're looking for that kind of a player who will make a huge impact in a very short while. So they are the most valued players. They are in extreme short supply, and that's why they go for big money.
Dheeraj, I have to ask you about these mini auctions. You've been a part of several of them. Why is it that, during these mini auctions, the franchises break their bank for a player, and we've seen during most of these high-profile buys, for example, Chris Morris and many others, it's been the mini auction when franchises have really bought players at a premium.
What happens in the big auction is that you have all 10 teams vying for a full squad. Now what happens in mini auctions is most teams already have the squad. I mean, you look at us, we are looking for only 5 players. Calcutta have done some strategic trading and some trading. All teams have got their core already formed. Everyone looking, as Amrit had said, everyone looking for 1 or 2 players to come into the 11 and suddenly turn things around. So it's more like a gamble. So that's why you don't mind spending that kind of money. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then you balance it out next year.
Amrit, Dheeraj spoke about teams balancing out with a player or two. One of the teams in this auction, Sunrisers Hyderabad, will have to do a lot of player buys given the number of players they have released after last IPL. What would their strategy be going into a mini auction?
Well, I think Sunrisers are a very interesting example that they got the last auction hugely wrong. That's why they released most of the players. They have released the captain. They have released their main players. So they are the ones who are trying to rebuild the team. Unlike others like Delhi, who are only trying to fill in gaps. Sunrisers is trying to construct a team because they failed miserably in the last auction to get their players right. So they are the ones with 42 crores available with them. They need to do a lot of thinking and a lot of clever buying this time to create a proper team, because they had a bad season. They obviously went wrong with the last time. So it's an opportunity for them, having released their players, to rebuild a team. Whereas, as Dheeraj said, Delhi and other teams are only trying to fill gaps. They need one particular player, so they could just look for that particular player. Whereas Sunrisers are almost like creating a team afresh. So I think it shows A, that they made mistakes last time, and B, they've got 42 crores now to set things right.
Right. And let me ask you a little more about the 5-time champions, Mumbai Indians. Even they don't seem to have got it right at the auction table last time around.
No, but I think they're well placed because Jofra Archer would be with them this year. And I think Tim David is a better player than what he was. Ishan Kishan has come on. So I think they had a bad season, but their choices were not wrong. Whereas Sunrise made wrong choices. and they paid big money for the wrong choices. So I think Mumbai will be fine. They had just a bad season, players didn't do well, but they were the right combination.
Dheeraj, do you think Mayank Agarwal will be the most sought after Indian player in the bouquet?
He should be, but again, that will depend on. See, again, when you do your team, would Mayank come? Would he be among the top 3 batsmen, or would he be in middle order, top order? So it all depends on each team's strategy. And the impact player, as Amrit also said, you're looking more for finishers to come in. So I wouldn't be surprised if either he goes in the beginning, or then there's a bidding war for him after they let go of him in the beginning and then call him later.
Right.
But Indian players will definitely be in demand, and he is one of those talented players.
And in your opinion, who are the other Indian players who will be in demand? Any of the wrist spinners, Indian or foreign?
Now you're asking to give my strategy out. We have shortlisted a few.
No, I am talking about, Dheeraj, I am talking about overall, team buys, not just for Delhi Capitals, but, overall the outlook for buying tomorrow.
So, one would be, there'll be a lot of interest in the batsmen. There will be interest in, a lot of teams need wicket keepers. We are playing in India, we are playing home and away, hopefully, 10. So the spinners come into, in a big way again. Lot of the cities have slow tracks. So I think the batsmen, wicket keepers and spinners, they'll be the top 3. And of course, I mean, again, you've got everybody. But I think the Indian all-rounders will not have that much impact as a specialist bowler or a specialist batsman would.
Well, I think for your team, Delhi Capitals, as I was researching a little bit, you definitely need a backup for Rishabh Pant. You don't have a backup wicketkeeper for Rishabh Pant. Amrit, I'll have to ask you one last question about the wrist spinners. India, though a land of spinners, is not really producing great wrist spinners. Do you think the foreign wrist spinners will be in demand in this auction?
Well, all the Indian spinners, the good ones, are already with teams. And the IPL has shown that wrist spinners or mystery spinners are scarce, they are valuable, and they go for big money, just as the all-rounder finishers. So these are 2 sets who are always very pricey. And Dheeraj is not revealing a strategy, but Indian batsmen are always hugely in demand. So Mayank Agarwal has been released by his team, and he should be very high in terms of others wanting him. So Indian batsmen are always, spinners have been match winners, so they are always in demand for the finishers. I think these are going to be the general trends. Coming to the question you asked about Indian all-rounders, the fact is that there are no Indian all-rounders around. Shakil Thakur had a bad season, he's been released. Hardik Pandya is the other all-rounder. We had others, but they have not really made an impact. So I think in terms of all-rounders and finisher all-rounders, you'd have to look for foreign.
Right, thank you very much, Amrit and Dheeraj.